The Yautja, more commonly known as the Predators, are a warrior race obsessed with the hunt. Their entire way of life revolves around tracking and defeating deadly prey, from humans to monstrous aliens like the Xenomorphs. Even with their highly advanced technology, their brutal strength, and centuries of hunting traditions, the hunt is always dangerous, and that means a lot of them die young. You see, predators can live for hundreds of years and potentially even 1,000 years or even more under ideal conditions. But ideal conditions don't exist when your job is literally to fight killer aliens with acid for blood or elite military units on hostile planets. So as you can see, most Yautja don't make it to old age. Over time, some predators have started experimenting with ways to go beyond the natural limits of their species. One method involves hybridization, which means mixing their DNA with other species to gain the other species' strengths. This idea was explored in The Predator of 2018, where we saw the so-called upgrade predator that had genetically enhanced themselves using traits pulled from other life forms. So imagine grabbing the best parts of different alien species and stitching them into your own body to become stronger, faster, maybe even live longer. On top of that, some predators have gone cybernetic, replacing lost limbs or organs with machines, or even having cyborg enhancements that not only let them keep fighting after severe injuries, but might even help them cheat death and maybe extend their lives. And so that is, in a nutshell, the lifespan of a predator. Now, as for the oldest ever described specimens of the predators, the Yautjas, we first have Ahab here. He was a veteran of countless worlds, bearing scars from some of the deadliest creatures in the galaxy. But what set him apart was his obsession. In 2107, while on a hunt, Ahab discovered signs of a mysterious and powerful species, the Engineers, who are these ancient beings we saw in Prometheus and Alien Covenant. For most, such a discovery might just be a curiosity, but for Ahab, it became an obsession, a mission. He spent the next 112 years tracking them, hunting every lead across star systems until he finally found one and defeated one in the year 2219. So given that he was already an experienced hunter when he found the signs of the Engineers in 2107 and spent 112 years tracking one, that means he would at the very least be more than 150 years old, and probably around or more than 200. Then next, so before modern human civilization took to the skies, a predator known only as shaman was already walking Earth's soil. In the mid-1800s, the 19th century, he roamed the wilds of North America, hunting the fiercest warriors of the indigenous tribes there. He didn't rely on plasma casters or invisibility fields, their cloaking devices, just his primitive handmade weapons and his own skill. He was a beast. Local legends describe him as Weshuge, a man-eating demon from native folklore. The fact that Shaman was already a full-fledged hunter more than 150 years ago makes it likely that he is now well over 200 years old, that is, if he is still alive. Then there are cases where time itself is bent. In the game Aliens vs Predator 2: The Primal Hunt, one predator known only as the Ancient was accidentally trapped in a stasis field, a kind of like a suspended animation. He didn't age, dream or decay, he simply waited. So for 500 years, when he finally awoke, however, fate was cruel. Within moments of stepping out into the light, he was face-hugged, sealed into a gruesome fate by a xenomorph face-hugger. His centuries of preserved life ended just hours later, giving birth to a monstrous predalien. It's a tragic irony, the technology that preserved him ultimately led to his end. But perhaps the most well-documented long-lived Yautja is called Greyback. He was this elder predator who received the famous Adolini flintlock pistol in 1718 as a trophy from a human pirate captain. So the story goes like this. Greyback first visited Earth in 1718, where he encountered a pirate captain called Raphael Adolini, and also assisted him in fending off his mutinous crew. At the end of the deadly battle, Adolini gifted the predator with his flintlock pistol before succumbing to a gunshot wound. He was the same one who reappeared again in 1997, after the death of the city hunter in Predator 2. Therefore, it would have been over 280 years later. Given that he was already a seasoned hunter in the early 1700s, Greyback was likely over 100 years old back then, therefore putting his age at close to 400 by the time of the second appearance in 1997. He is one of the clearest examples that Yautja, if they survive long enough, can live for centuries. Then in the comic series Predator Homeworld Issue 3, we meet a predator unlike any other. This is an ancient being, possibly over 1,000 years old. He has been around longer than most human civilizations have lasted, and at this stage of his life, he was no longer part of any clan, and thus was living a quiet solitary life on Yautja Prime, the homeworld of his species. However, back on Earth, in the wilds of Yellowstone National Park, 3 young predators who were reckless and bloodthirsty went on a brutal killing spree. They were just murdering for sport, breaking their own honor code and becoming bad bloods, treating Earth like their personal playground for violence. Quietly, this elder descended to Earth, but not as part of a hunting party or a mission, only there to deliver justice firsthand. He begins a deadly pursuit, and one by one hunting the hunters, and despite being centuries older than them, he defeats all 3 in a series of fierce personal battles. This adds to the theory that the older the predator, the more dangerous they become. And imagine how deadly a 1,000-year-old predator is. And this brings us to the ancients. These are one of the oldest types of predators, often close to 1,000 years old. While they're not in charge of clans like the elders or the clan leaders, they're incredibly respected and act as spiritual guides and advisors to the clan leaders. Because the predator lifestyle is so dangerous, with constant hunting and deadly battles, it is extremely rare for one to live this long. You can usually spot an ancient by their grey or whitish dreadlocks and their more ornate gear, especially their unique, heavily customized mask. Even though they're old, they can still fight if they have to, and the younger predators often come to them for wisdom and training. Each clan typically has only one ancient, and when they're nearing their end of their life, they choose a successor and pass down their legacy. And then finally, there is Galacta, the stuff of myth even amongst his own kind. He is known as the Predator King, a being that is said to be thousands of years old. He remembers a time long before humans, long before even the Xenomorphs. He speaks of a war against the Drukati, a mysterious and ancient species whose power dwarf even the Yautja. Galacta is described as divine, immortal, and unnaturally powerful. His dreadlocks are not hair but mechanical tendrils, suggesting some form of cybernetic enhancement. He stands apart not just in age, but also in essence, representing what a predator can become if they transcend the hunt and evolve beyond their own flesh and limits. Then there's also the strange case, a notable mention of an elder called Spartan. He is the elder and the leader of the elite clan, but we don't really have any idea on how old he really is, cause there are no dates attached to him or his story. He could very well be centuries old but not yet touching the 1,000-year mark, as he would have been considered an ancient if he was so. Thus here we see that the Yautja lifespan is paradoxical. They can live for centuries, perhaps even millennia, but most don't, cause their very culture encourages death in pursuit of glory. However, for those few who do endure by obsession, wisdom, or even sheer luck, become legends amongst their own kind. So that's the end of this video. If you like this one, then watch this other one too, the one in the end screen. And do check out our channel as well, we might have things you haven't seen before. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, fam.